Hi there, BookTube. It's late July and I'm thinking and planning about the things I'm going to read in August, and as ever I'm going to share that with you. And I love doing that because it kind of crystallises my plans and gives me the chance to get kind of reactions and comments from you, and also means I can talk about some of the upcoming sort of booktubey, eventy, reading-y things that are going on. So this August I would say, well, what's my reading diet going to be? I've got two main courses, and those are Women in Translation and Modernist Literature. Yeah. Then side orders of Men in Translation and new fiction, recent fiction. And then I'm going to just be sort of just snacking on Garb August, very popular August reading event, and Thomas Hardy. So let's just briefly mention the Modernist Lit bit, okay, because I am co-host of two group reading things in August that you're very welcome to join, and I'll put links to the Discord, the Voxer group for one and the Discord group for the other in the show notes, but I won't say much more because I've done announcement videos for both of them. But they are Faulkner in August, and we're reading Go Down Moses, which is a novel in kind of linked short stories, I suppose is the best way to describe it, and will undoubtedly be fun and a good thing to read in a group. Even more kind of useful to read in a group, I think, is the second reading along thing, which is to read some of the poetry of T.S. Eliot, and a supportive, if you've always meant to read some T.S. Eliot, then joining a supportive group read that's going to dip into a few of his best works is a great way to do it, I think. So do join us. Those out of the way, let's talk about one of my main dishes in August, which is Women in Translation, because August is, for me, Women in Translation month. There isn't a formal reading event for it anymore, although I kind of hope to make one or two videos kind of on that theme in August. We'll see how I get on. I won't overpromise, but I hope to. And I'm absolutely going to read, so those will be about my sort of favourites and recommendations for Women in Translation, translated into English. But yeah, I'm going to read some new ones, and top of the pile is this one, Tyranny of Flies by Elaine, Vilar, Madruga, Cuban author, probably one of Cuba's sort of foremost contemporary writers. It came out in 2021 in Cuba, and it's translated from the Spanish by Gerry, Dunn, which the translation came out in 2024. It's meant to be a bit dark, a bit satirical, a bit rebellious, funny, but also with this sort of elements of horror. We shall see. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm buddy reading it with the wonderful Ian. So that's top of the Women in Translation pile. Next is one that I don't have to wave at you because I've got it as an ebook, but that's On the Calculation of Volume, book one by Solvej Balle, who's a Danish author, and it's the first part of an intended septology, but they're all quite short. And I'm going to read the first one and see what I think. I won't necessarily read all seven. Who knows? This one came out in 2020 in Danish, but the English translation came out just this year, 2025. So it's sort of quite hot off the press, which fits nicely for me and Tilly with our read a contemporary novel each month in this year, and then do a discussion video together. So this is our joint read, and the translation is by Barbara Haveland. What's it like? Well, it's sort of, in summary, it's kind of like a literary Groundhog Day. It's a woman who finds herself living the same day again and again, 365 times, I think, in the course of what is quite a short book. It's apparently something of a reflection on sort of love and the meaning of life and connectedness we shall see. I'm quite excited about that one. It's on the shortlist for the International Booker Prize, which is always a good sign of a good translation as well as a good book to start with. Next in my Women in Translation adventure for August is slightly older book, not old. It came out, I think, in 2010 in German, and then 2016 in this English translation. It's Reckless by Cornelia Funke. It's the YA or middle grade choice for reading the Globe fiction for August. I loved reading her books, The Thief Lord and the Inkheart trilogy, with Alfred and Matilda when they were younger, and so I'm quite excited to go and revisit her in a sort of one of her more recent books. I think this is the first of a trilogy, and again, I may or may not actually read the other three. It's more like a little taste, and because I'm trying to read a little bit of YA and middle grade this year. It's not my usual thing, but it can be rewarding. So that's that one. Then the next one is also a Reading the Globe book, but this is just a little bit less recent because it's Sappho. This is a Reading the Globe classic, and Katja picked this as one that we could read at any time during the course of the year. So it's not tied to any particular month, but it just felt right for Women in Translation Month. Now, Sappho was... this was translated from the ancient Greek by, let's name the translator because it's always good, Aaron Poochigian. There you go. Sorry, Aaron. What a bad, mauling of your name, Aaron Poochigian. And Sappho was a real person, unlike, say, Homer, but we only have fragments of her work, so we don't know her. We know some details of her life, but not a lot. She was born sometime after 630 BCE and died around 570 BCE. So we're talking. This is from a long time ago, but she remains relevant. She remains influential because her work is passionate, beautiful, sometimes erotic, sometimes subversive. Yeah. I've read bits of Sappho before, and as I say, you can only read bits of Sappho because all we have is fragments, but I've never read a whole collection with a sort of proper introduction and notes and so on. So Women in Translation Month feels like the right opportunity to do that. There we go. Now, I said I would also have like kind of a side order of men translation, and I do. And that's because I've got two Reading Globe books which I kind of want and need to read in August. One of them is the official August choice for Reading the Globe Classics, and that's God's Bits of Wood by Sembene Ousmane. It's translated by Frances Price. It's a kind of modern classic, I suppose, because it was the original book in French. He's from Senegal. The original was published in French in 1962, and this translation, 1960, and this translation was from 1962. Okay, and it's about a strike that took place during the building of the Dakar to Niger railway in the sort of late 1940s, and it's vivid, moving. It's something I've always meant to read, so I really want to push myself to get to it, even though it's not by a woman in Women in Translation Month, but it's time. And then our Reading the Globe Contemporary strand, which I'm co-hosting with Katja, our August book is I don't have to show you because I've got it as an ebook, is Old Kiln by Jia Pingwa. So, and he it was published in China in 2011, but just came out, June 2025 in the English translation. It's translated by several people: James Trapp, Olivia, Milburn, and Christopher Payne. It's set in rural China in 1966. What happened in 1966? The Cultural Revolution. It's about to turn life upside down in this village as it did across China. Jia Pingwa is considered, one of the greatest contemporary Chinese novelists writing today. I've never read anything by him. I'm really excited and interested to read on Kiln. I'm also just a little bit anxious because it's very, very long. And I will understand if people who are doing Reading the Globe sort of don't join us for this one because it's a bit, intimidating in its length. But nevertheless, I'm really, really pleased to have the opportunity to read something by him, and I'm going to do it. It may roll over into September a bit. We'll see, because I'm not gonna make myself miserable by trying to cram too much in. Well, a bit far, but you know what I mean. So we shall see. But and as always with Reading the Globe, there will be a live show discussion, which reminds me to say that the our July book was a little short one, Standing Heavy by GauZ, and the live show for that is next weekend, first weekend in August. So I'll do an announcement on my community channel. It'll be on the live sort of listing. So do come along, whether or not you've read it. It's not a book you could spoil, really. So even if you're thinking of reading it, it's worth coming and listening into the live show with me and catch up. Now, I said that I'd have a couple of other kind of little side dishes in my August reading diet, and one of those is new fiction, because I always have to read a bit of new fiction in English, and I've just started in late July this one, but it's definitely going to roll into August because I'm also reading another new novel and I'm finishing a Jane Austen July non-fiction book. So this is Sarah Moss, Ripeness. It came out in sort of middle of May this year. I have heard nothing but praise for this book. Everyone who's read it speaks so highly of it. And I've read just about everything by Sarah Moss, and so if people are saying this is her best book ever, then I'm really, really looking forward to finding out if I agree. It's meant to have a really sort of moving, lovely look at love and place and sense of belonging. Place is often really important in Moss's books. It's something she does exceptionally well. So we shall see. One thing I have to say about Moss is I don't think she always nails her endings, so I'll be interested to see if she does in this book. We'll see. Also published in May 2025, and I don't yet have the copy because I'm picking it up from the library in the next few days, is Gunk by Saba Sams. Now that came out, as I say, a few weeks ago, May of this year. Sams grew up in Brighton, and the book is set in Brighton. Brighton is the city where I live, and Gunk is the August choice for my in real life book group in Brighton. We fancied reading a local book by a local author. She doesn't live in Brighton anymore, but it's very strongly got a Brighton flavour, and it's about love, it's about desire, it's about wanting a baby, it's about the failings of the nuclear family, I suppose. It's also about grubby nightclubs in Brighton, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, what else am I kind of going to snack on this month? Well, I'm going to dip my toe into Garb August. I don't usually do it, but I thought, why not this year? I want to be in with the cool crowd. Not really, but I'll link to Criminoli is the sort of number one host for Garb August, but there are many others, and it's about reading sort of junky stuff in August for fun. And so as I say, just reaching into it by reading this one, I hope. Richard Osman, We Solve Murders, fits the bill because it's cozy crime, and it's by a celebrity author because Osman is works in TV. Did that before he became an author. He's written a series, the Thursday Murder Club mysteries, and this is the first book in a new series. It came out in 2024. It should be an enjoyable page turner and kind of light relief to sort of, when I'm in the middle of like old Kiln or something, I can kind of refresh my palate by reading this one. It's long, but it'll be a quick read if I know Osman. Also, I think going to be a page turner, although quite different, is my other sort of little snack book from a different reading event, and that is Jen the Librarian is sort of cajoling people into reading Thomas Hardy's novels in publication order, and I'm joining that read along for all the Hardys that I haven't yet read. So I'm going to complete my Hardy novels by the end of this event sometime next year. And the August one is A Pair of Blue Eyes, which was his third published novel. It came out in 1873, but it had been serialised over sort of 1872 and 1873, and it famously is the origin of the term cliffhanger, because one of the chapters, as was serialized, ends with a literal cliffhanging moment. As I say, it's a story of a love triangle. It's meant to be fairly melodramatic, more so, perhaps less sort of serious than some of Hardy's later work. I don't know, we shall see. It's not his most popular novel, but I'm looking forward to giving it a try because, sometimes a bit of completism is fun. So that's my August plans. Slightly, possibly overstretching myself because of how substantial old Kiln is. However, I'm expecting it to be a really rewarding month, and if I don't finish everything, then a few things can slightly slip into September, and if I get ahead, I've got some September-y things that I'd quite like to get to in August. So we'll see. Always flexible. That's my motto. I would love to hear any thoughts you have on any of these books, and tell me about your August plans, and give me fear of missing out on the things that you're reading or participating in.